Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. So, first of all, my thoughts and prayers go out to the families of the 3 kids and 3 adults who were killed in the Nashville shooting. And before anybody says it and you think thoughts and prayers don't matter, they do. I had to drive to Vegas to bury my only granddaughter, drive back to Texas, and then turn around not even a couple of weeks later and bury my mother. And people sent me thoughts and prayers, and you know what? They did matter. So stop with that bullshit. It doesn't matter to godless people. I am not a godless person. So, me not being a godless person, that matters to me. It shows people care. Now, the shooter in Nashville was found out to be transgender when just a couple of years ago, AOC and Shooter Tlaib, Biden and Harris, transgender and non-binary don't do that. That's not true. There's plenty of instances where transgenders and non-binaries have committed these type of shootings. And the only reason it's important is because they're trying to convince you that it's not important. It is very important. People are people. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, anything like that. Everybody's susceptible to mental illness. Let me change this lighting so hope that's a little better for you guys. People are susceptible to mental illness. And anybody who kills innocents, especially kids, it's a mental illness. And that doesn't matter if you're transgender, non-binary, gay, straight. That's a mental illness. It's evil. It's evil. Now, having spent a couple of decades in the mental health field before I wised up and went into business for myself, and as you can see, that greatly changed my fortunes. You develop this, I don't want to say sixth sense, but you can look and see a person has something more going on. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. You spend that much time working in the mental health field, you can look at a person and say, hey, this person's not right. There's something wrong here. You can sense situations. And with this person having a manifesto, before I continue further, I'm not going to mention the person's name. I will say I saw the video. That firearm did not look like an AR-15. But I could be wrong. Could have been a bullpup. I don't know. Because I couldn't see the magazine. AR-15 magazine is very distinct. I won't show their picture. I'm not going to do any of that. But to do something like that, that's horrible. And the best little that's out for us is, y'all see your thoughts and prayers, gotta ban assault rifles. It's really starting to be a headache. It really is. Because it's ridiculous. Know what you have to do. I'm sorry. It's pretty so one of the things they do here in South Texas, if I wasn't running my own businesses, and I have 3 of them, I would volunteer, but they take veterans as volunteers, and they see you through training, arm you, and put you inside the school. And it's not just to stop mass shootings. There's a lot of things that go on in these schools these days because people refuse to raise their kids. They just refuse. I don't know. We're not raising strong people because most of the parents aren't strong. How strong was my mother? I feel if I mess up really bad, her ghost will come back and kick my ass. So this shooting, was it preventable? Yes. Why wasn't it prevented? Because The Democrat leaders, all they know is gun control. At the same time, you look, some of the bluest states in the nation, Washington, I know for sure, Oregon, California, New York, first thing they do is slice mental health care. You know why? Because they're busy taking care of criminals. And they're not getting people the help they need, even though their taxes are through the roof. This shooting, though, I watched the video. I do not recommend you watch the video. You can. Tell me, if you do, tell me what you think. But this was horrible. It's not because the person is transgender. I have friends who are transgender. Some of my best friends are transgender. Matter of fact, one the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, called me for advice on what kind of gun to get for self-defense. You know, with their situation. Of course, we talk, and it's like, hey, well, it depends on, your situation, where you are, what you're doing. But it's nice to have options. So I walked him through it, and it was a long conversation. I won't bore you with it. Most transgender from a girl to a boy. I did my best to give them a safe job. Most people found out they were transgender, which they announced. I didn't. That was my so in the mental health field, you have what's called a 2-to-1, where it's 2 of you watching one patient, because that patient is just that violent. That was my go-to person. So before any of you get on here thinking, oh, Dan hates transgenders, I don't care. You're an adult, do what you want to do. I don't care. As long as it doesn't affect me. Hey, if you want to ride your horse backwards, ride your fucking horse backwards. It's not on me. Your horse might not like it, because horses do not like to go in reverse. But I'm watching now Biden, AOC, the liberal news media shrinking away from this shooting. And they're saying, oh no, cops in school aren't the answer. Yes, I'm sorry, it is. I just saw a video here a couple of weeks ago. The 6'8" black dude is 5'0" 100-pound teacher. This dude is 6'8", 300-some pounds. Dumbass. He could have been a linebacker. He could have been a multimillionaire. No, he's a dumbass because we're not raising our kids right. Because they have no responsibility. That's a whole other story. Actually, it's not. It's the same story. Because she took his Nintendo Switch from him. She's walking in the hallway. He grabs her by the hair, slams her to the floor. She's immediately knocked unconscious. Then he gets on top of her and starts punching her. And some people tried to come and help. There was this one woman, she shrank away, but she was 5'0". I understand. Because he would have done the same thing to her. I get it. So you see a couple of male teachers come over and try to help. Now imagine if you had a couple of resource officers in that school, they did tasting. This woman was severely damaged. You saw it even down here in Houston, 3rd Ward, Sheila Jackson Lee's district, which she's afraid to walk alone in. She won't do it without security. Little Asian woman had a business, went and drew some money from the bank. I think it was like $4,200. Black guy comes up behind her, slams her, paralyzes her, and laughs about it in court. And then they reduce his bail because he couldn't afford it. Motherfucker, you're not supposed to be able to afford it. That's kind of the point. You're dangerous. Apparently you're into purse snatchings. But back to the shooting. Until we change the culture, we're going to get more of this. It's not the guns. It's the culture. It's the people. And the dishonest thing that the woke does, that liberals do, they'll say, well, France doesn't have these problems. Actually, that's not true. There was just a mass shooting in France a month ago. But if you compare France to the United States, one is homogenized. They're all French. They're all French. It's one culture. That's how most countries are. The United States is different. Even, and you got to compare size. So of course we're going to have more mass shootings. France, you could fit France inside of Texas. Think about that. I think the problem with a lot of Americans is they don't realize how big the United States is. Think about this. We could crush Europe in a war tomorrow. That's how big we are. Now you get these feckless leaders who have no idea what is or what isn't. You get people like AOC who have no idea what's going on in the world, and they're just up and talking beanbags. And then with this transgender, it's another reason this is important, that this person was transgender, or that this person was woke. You have people like Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, hosting shows for Hanoi Jane Fonda. Now, here's one thing you're going to learn. 99% of combat veterans or combat arms soldiers, we get told the story about Jane Fonda, and it's a warning. Apparently she was in Vietnam. She sided with the communists, the Viet Cong. And there were 3 soldiers. And they handed her their name and social security number slipped on a piece of paper. She handed it over to the Viet Cong. Only one survived. He came home and told the story. Nobody would have ever known that happened. She's taking pictures with anti-air artillery with the Viet Cong. It's an evil woman. But she can go on The View and talk about abortion and say murder. Oh, don't think she won't. Don't think she won't. She'll call for it. She won't actually she's done it. She did it in Vietnam. And if you're a combat veteran or you've been in combat arms and you try to tell me some shit about, oh no, that was just a myth, it wasn't. She never denied it. Real veterans, real patriots, won't even watch a movie she's in. Man, I hope, never mind, I can't even say that on YouTube. But she called for murder of people who were against abortion. Instead of saying, hey, let's have a conversation about this. Now, she wants murder. The country is at a breaking point. It's witnessed by this school shooting. It's witnessed by several school shootings. Look at places like Chicago, Los Angeles, New York. Hell, we had one down here in rural Texas. It's really sad and it's disappointing. I know I rambled on this, but remember, I don't script out anything. Hey, if I feel strongly about something, I just sit down and talk about it. Where was I going with that? Let me see. Oh, so this school shooting, yeah, it was committed by a transgender, but I think there's more behind it. And hopefully we'll find out that this person wrote a manifesto, sent their best friend a suicide note. I mean, there was real mental illness going on there. If you're willing to take the life of innocence, or take your own life, it's called a 5150, people. You're a threat or a danger to yourself or others. You should be committed to get the help you need. And then you got these people out here calling for gun control. It doesn't, no, sorry. Except the one black kid who beat up the little bitty teacher. Gun control wouldn't stop that. Who was the other guy who drove through, was it Waukesha? Took his car and plowed through a parade of people. Gun control wouldn't stop that. It's not going to change the culture. So we're trying to change this culture more. We have to change this culture. And I'll probably do a video on that one later, but this is running long and I am moving, so. But yeah, no. That was just very sad, very disappointing. Take the life of innocent kids. And then the sheriff came out and said it was a targeted attack. So I wonder what was going on there. And we'll find out more in the days to come. But honestly, I probably won't do another video on that specifically. Because I'm not going to give this person any airtime. It just encourages other people. Oh, the sheriff also said yesterday that they went to another place, but that place had security. So they went to this one. But there was a whole big manifest about how they were going to do this and do that. Man, I wish everybody the best. Let me stop rambling. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, keep your powder dry and do what you got to do.